So, for instance, like the missile hit the Gaza hospital, both sides blamed each other. That's the breaking news, right? And instead of waiting for more information, you jump to conclusions saying it was 100% Israel. 100%.
Okay.
You were so confident.
Good point.
All the chatters.
Good point. Can I ask you a question?
Oh boy. Now let's see if we can try to let's pull this. Okay, clearly I'm wrong here, but let's pull this into some autistically niche territory that he's not gonna have information on, so I can look right. Okay.
No. Hold on. This is important. This is important. No, we're not jumping. We're talking about this. Okay. We're talking about this specific thing. Finally, now we're talking about Israel-Palestine. When I said that, I didn't just go, oh, I have no other opinion on this matter. I simply think Israel definitely did this because I want Israel to have definitely done this.
You see the dumb Osama bin Laden trying on TikTok? Yeah.
The reason why I said this, and you do this regularly, okay? When I say something on this stream, okay, oftentimes, especially if it's a developing story.
How do you know I say this stuff?
Especially if it's a developing story, when I say something on an issue that is happening, I look to all of the circumstantial evidence on the matter, and I look to everything else that is going on thus far. Now, we're two adult individuals here. Do you think it is unfair to say Israel blew up the hospital, like Israel bombed the hospital?
I think when there's a
I hate that he's pretending. God, I hate this so much. I don't know how transparent it is. I like how he's pretending that he's going through some process, some epistemically valid process to arrive at conclusions about breaking news, when the reality is he hates Israel, or America more precisely, and he'll just grab whatever factoid fits that, and then he basically works backwards from that conclusion. Like, bro, don't sit here and pretend like you were going through a multitude of stories on the... You probably didn't even read a full article about the bombing, and you're sitting here pretending like you had some epistemically valid process by which you were able to divine the actual truth of the bombing that just happened to be completely and totally fucking wrong, that you got so incorrect about it. Like, come on, dude.
Who do you think blew up the hospital? Like, the hospital courtyard, rather. Who do you think bombed the hospital courtyard?
I think most investigations point towards it being either the Islamic Jihad or Hamas, right? It's like a misfired rocket. And then what you did in response to that was, instead of being like, yeah, I think since most of the reports are going this way.
Why do you think it's wait, hold on. Why do you think it's Hamas or Islamic Jihad and a rocket misfire?
I like how he's just mining and mining and mining. This is the live strategy, right? He's mining and mining and mining for something that the guy might not know about, so that then he can hammer him on some irrelevant, esoteric side fact that has nothing to do with the initial claim of Hasan was clearly using a propaganda mindset to arrive prematurely at a conclusion about breaking news, right? Like, how far is he going to dig on this? Like, oh yeah, it was because of that. Well, do you even know the make and model? Do you even know the chemical makeup of the fuel that the custom rockets use? Do you
Well, that was just what most of the investigations turned out.
So
I know Channel 4 had a different one.
Because you're bringing this up, and this is really important to understand. One, all of the circumstantial
evidence. You say that every time, but it never is.
Okay. All of
that was a good one-liner.
And this is really important to understand. One, all of the circumstantial...
Oh, true. I wonder if Hasan was hoping that he would say, oh, Hamas bombed them. And he would go, oh, Hamas? You don't even know all of the different groups operating out of the Gaza Strip, because it wasn't actually Hamas people think it was. It was a totally different group, and you probably don't even know the name. That's probably what he was fishing for. But when he said Islamic jihadists, it this dialogue trip, so now he's got to hop to some different shit. You're probably right. That's probably what happened.
Every time, but it never is.
Okay, all of the circumstantial evidence at the time, of course, after the 6,000 bombs that Israel had dropped on Gaza, a densely populated open-air prison, the 6,001st bomb, understandably, was going to be an Israeli bomb. To this day, we still do not know whether this was an Islamic Jihad rocket that was misfired, or whether or not this was actually an artillery shell that might have hit a fuel tank, or even some other kind of munition that Israel may have deployed.
So why did you say it was
now,
100% Israel and then call everyone genocidal freaks that disagree with you?
You don't actually watch the content beyond...
You demonize them.
Because, first of all, because they are. Because the Israeli government is genocidal. What the fuck are you talking about, you dumb... 4,500 children have been ruthlessly slaughtered. You think that's not genocidal? Oh, the one hospital might... Wait, Willie, shut the fuck up and listen, dumbass.
Yeah.
I hate the children line. It's so fucking cringe. God, it's so cringe. Like, it's just like, it's like the Reddit meme that you just pull out over and over again. Like, break here to hopefully auto-win the argument. Did you know that 55% of people are children? And did you know that 25% of the people killed are children? And then 97% of their water is not drinkable and is genocidal apart? Like, it's always like the same, like, 6 talking points with, like, absolutely zero engagement with any actual fact of the matter, right? It's just like repeating these stats over and over and over and over again until you, basically the person gives up, I guess.
On that same day, over and over again, I said the highest probability of this is that this is an Israeli bombing campaign. Part of the reason why I said that,
You also said that
and
was
I
the
also
highest
mentioned
probability
multiple times.
after the investigation.
I also
the
mentioned
investigations don't agree with you.
I also
still double
mentioned
down on that
multiple
point.
times. I also mentioned multiple times.
You just again ignored what I said.
Dude, just listen to what I'm saying.
Well, you're
I know it
saying it's
doesn't. I
irrelevant,
know it
though. You're
doesn't
just saying,
correspond.
bro, like you
No, it's
just
not
like-
That
irrelevant.
is true. He is. He's just saying irrelevant, random shit. Yeah, this is the Hasan's right. Remember, if you don't know what the you're talking about, or if you can't win the argument, just like vent, like info dump. This is what he did with Ethan over and over again. He just like random info dumps of shit. Because the more stuff you can say that's correct, it's like in the housing crisis. It's like creating CDOs when you've got like a lot of bad underlying material. If you pack enough shit in, it kind of works, right? So the Afghan-Soviet Civil War happened in 1850, and it was because America was the one providing the Afghans, I think, with nuclear weapons in 1850. 1 + 1 is 2. H2O means water. If you go into like any physics class and you actually study, you'll see that like a lot of it is theoretically in like frictionless vacuums, and it doesn't always carry over well to like engineering degrees. Red Bull has a lot of like caffeine and like it's just like you say a couple of retarded things and then you just like start info dumping on the most random shit that nobody's asking about. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. No relevance to the argument. You just like info dump, and then if you say enough correct things after that, then everybody looks at you like, yeah, this guy's like a facts. This guy's a facts speaker, dude. This guy speaks some true facts. And then all the while like Chad is like spamming like, yo, yeah, you tell him, and it's like, who cares? It's like because it's the spray and pray debate strat. Did Hasan always debate like this? He seemed way more passive and more shit at debate in general years ago when he was still in orbit of yours. When Hasan was an orbiter. I think back then he tried to be like a little bit more kind of like fact-based, or not fact-based, but like having a real back and forth in a conversation. But like, you got to remember, the Hasan of the past like 3 or 4 years is like barely even a real human being, right? This is like a caricature of like modern day popular young politics combined with maximum like clout sharking approval mode, combined with maximum like Marxist-Leninist like anti-American tendencies, combined with like the most like perverted form of breaking news obfuscation. Like it's like this like amalgamation of like horrible characteristics. He's not like a thinking normal human being that's like, oh, like how would a human being engage this argument? It's like a defense mechanism after defense mechanism that he's like constructed to keep his ego and his cognitive dissonance at bay, to keep his ego safe, cognitive dissonance at bay, while he like engages with other people and tries to like farm basically reactions off of them. Like that's the only thing you're seeing at this point. Hasan is, by the way, not unique here. Like there's a lot of people that have this issue. Like I think Vosh, although he's a bit more cerebral about it, I think Vosh actually falls into a lot of the same types of traps. In fact, actually, if I think about it, probably most online political commentators will fall into this trap, because the problem is at some point the facts are going to take you to an area that is incongruent with whatever political party you're aligned with, and you can't confront that fact or talk about it. So the only other alternative is to perform. You have to do something. Remember, humans cannot live with cognitive dissonance. You have to do something to alleviate it. So you either lie to yourself, you like only search for certain types of information, you like engage in weird rationalizations to make it go away. Like there's always something you have to do to alleviate it. And for Hasan, that thing is usually avoiding confrontation from people as much as possible and picking the opponents like really, really, really well. How do you deal with cognitive dissonance? Well, I mean, the good way to alleviate cognitive dissonance is that if you have cognitive dissonance, it means that a thought process has given you two ideas that are contradictory in nature, meaning that the same type of reasonable thought process should not be producing both opinions. So something is wrong with the thought process. So if you have cognitive dissonance because something is not matching your prediction with reality, or you're predicting different things, well, then you have to go back to the thought process and adjust it accordingly. That's what you're supposed to do. I hope that's what I do. But I mean, I guess technically everybody thinks they do that, so it doesn't really mean much. It's like when I say like, oh yeah, like I think I'm somebody that tries to find the facts and remain like unbiased, like everybody says that. So it's kind of a worthless statement for any individual to be saying it, because, yeah, but that's ideally that's what you do, right?